Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, our beautiful country, and how we're going to fix both of them together. Because, guys, they're linked pretty hard. And I'm going to keep on hitting on this FEMA circus charade that just went down in the halls of Congress. The point of this is not to say that FEMA misstepped when they overlooked, conservatives and Trump supporters on purpose in the middle of a hurricane disaster relief. The point is not to have them hung up by their toes in Congress. The point is to bring the apparent understanding to what's actually going on. You're looking at a systemic issue, a cultural issue, which we hit on one of our other videos around the idea that it's acceptable to skip people of the opposite political persuasion. Lauren Boebert's on this one. She lays out some hard facts because it's tying all of it together. That's the most important piece. Everything will be linked in the description box below. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on if you want to rip this culture of, in my opinion, corruption out from its root. And I'd love to see you on here. So guys, this content is made possible by USCCA. USCCA has a system in place to actually fight the corruption that you're seeing on state and federal levels around your Second Amendment rights. If you defend yourself legally, you could get in trouble. You could get sued. You could get charged. They've got you in that case. There's a link in the description. But I think even more likely, if someone decides that you're a threat to yourself or others, without having to face your accuser, you get a warrant to have all your gun rights taken through red flag laws. And then, after that, you get to prove you're innocent after you've been assumed guilty for about 12 months, if it works. USCCA has a provision. They just added for red flag law coverage because it is the most rising threat that we face in our gun rights world right now. That's my own personal opinion. That's why I partnered with them. There's a link in the description box below. Check it out. Just know your options. And thank you to them for making this possible. All right, guys. We're going to go over to Lauren Boebert, one of my favorites. Firebrand. As she told me once when I met her, she's just a loudmouth Southern woman. That is not true. She's very intelligent, and where she's about to go on this, yeah, watch this, because she lays some stuff out in this hearing against FEMA that you guys need to know about.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Criswell, I appreciate you being here today. My colleague from Tennessee, Congressman Tim Burchett, had asked you about funding for illegals, those who have come into our country, entered our country illegally, and who were present for some of these storms. And under oath, you stated that only American citizens could apply for additional funding through FEMA. Do you stand by that?
American citizens and eligible legal aliens can.
Legal aliens, those who have come through the ports of entry legally and have their green card or anything else. Well, we have.
It's really important to clarify, just so we're going through this. She just confirmed, which is it's a good question. It's a way to set the precedent and lay the groundwork for this. She just laid out the fact that only American citizens and legal immigrant aliens can actually apply for these benefits because they're paying into the tax system, right? So that's what she just established, and she got to confirm. Okay, check this out.
Illegal aliens who have entered our country, and FEMA itself has reported $380 million in additional funding to communities receiving migrants. FEMA awards $110 million to the Emergency Food and Shelter Program to assist migrants. Another FEMA notification, Department of Homeland Security announces distribution of more than $77 million in congressional funding for communities receiving migrants. Politico says New York City to get $104.6 million from FEMA. And the list goes on and on. Even the embassy, the U.S. Embassy in El Salvador chimed in. And so I would say that there's quite a bit of money going towards illegal aliens. And Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask for this to be submitted into the record, these headlines here.
Without objection to order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now,
before she goes on to her next point here, because she's about to get to the point where it's criminal negligence. So she goes full on Lauren Boebert here in a second. But hundreds of millions of dollars to illegal immigrants after the director or the administrator of FEMA just said it doesn't exist. This speaks to some other things that we've said in other videos while we've covered segments and snippets of this. This speaks to a culture. This speaks to an inadequacy and inequity for the taxpayers versus the people who are favored by the left. The left controlled the auspices of power for the last 4 years. Hundreds of millions of dollars go to what said couldn't happen. Magically, all of a sudden. But the people who are actually Trump supporters, who pay taxes, who are out there, who are in hurricane disaster zones, they get skipped because of safety perceptions. Guys, the entire thing needs to be ripped out. We're at a point now where the corruption is so deep, and this is something that I hit on another one of these segments. You have to understand that this individual who ordered these people, the FEMA workers, to skip Trump houses, she felt comfortable enough in her assertion to do that inside FEMA as an official team lead. So let's put on the side table for a second that she's a human piece of filth. I don't care if you do that to a Democrat or you do that to a Republican. That's not cool. Okay? Let's put that over there in a stinky little pile right over there. She felt comfortable enough to do it. What does that point to? It's not about, did she do it? Is it a systemic issue? That's a part of it. The main line is, there's a culture inside FEMA where she felt comfortable enough to make that determination and actually put it into effect. Example, if you're at your job and you feel like you can discriminate against somebody for whatever reason, they're wearing a Harris Walls shirt or they're wearing a Trump shirt, do you think it ever goes through your brain maybe once or twice? I probably can't do that because I might get fired. Well, if you know that there's going to be no consequences and you know that it's going to be accepted, all of a sudden, that concern kind of goes out the window. That's what I'm trying to paint the picture as. It's a culture problem inside our federal bureaucracies. That's the point. I know you guys wouldn't do that. But this is what happened here. Again, look at the culture and the acceptance and the comfort, not the systemic. Let's continue. I want to hear some criminal negligence.
Ms. Criswell, we've heard that Ms. Washington said that she's being used as a scapegoat, and I kind of lean to believe that because here today we have this list of chain of commands. We have supervisors who are all around her, yet we can't point to any specific supervisor who's being held accountable here. We've heard that there's an investigation. We hear about investigations all the time. Ms. Criswell, I have people sit here in front of this committee and tell us all about investigations, and then we never receive any information from that. We have seen the devastation.
Okay, I'm going to pause her for a second. She's so over the target. These guys, I don't know what they did over the 2024 election, but they ate their Wheaties or they got some sleep or something because they're looking at the deeper root causes, and that's where it needs to be focused on. She's saying right here, there's no accountability to any leaders. What the actual F is going on, that this is an acceptable course of action? People tell us all the time there's investigations. I said in a prior video on the same topic in the same hearing where you're talking about the DOJ and the ATF. All of a sudden, magically, Brian Malinowski got shot in his own home in front of his wife. Well, it's under investigation, so I can't speak about it. Then, later on, when there's no follow-up, as she just said, oh man, that's a shame. I really need to get you that memo. This is the way that it works. Anyway, just reinforcing that point. Let's continue with the ish.
Of American citizens who have been impacted by these hurricanes, and they want answers. So is Ms. Washington being used as a scapegoat for carrying out the directive to not go to homes with Trump signs?
I received information on November 7th that there was an employee that had directed homes with Trump signs.
Correct.
Avoided.
And you terminated her, but are there
evidence.
others who are going to be held accountable? Now let me ask you this. Okay, you have the investigation that's been asked of you. What are you going to do to preserve this investigation and ensure that it continues in the next administration?
We will fully cooperate with the IG if they choose to take on this investigation. It has also been elevated to the Office of Special
And in this
Counsel.
sorry, my time is running out. And in this internal investigation or outside, if you never find anyone who's actually culpable for this, are you going to take any blame?
We are conducting ongoing investigations.
Are you going to take any blame
and
if no one is found? If no one is found,
if we find anyone that has been violating the way we deliver
I'll
assistance,
move on. I'm sorry, you're not answering my question directly. So this is a culture that the
Yes.
Biden administration has allowed to cultivate as and I believe that you are a part of this as FEMA. And I would hope that you would take responsibility for allowing your employees to discriminate those who they help based on politics, rather than just dismissing it on an investigation. Now, are there barriers within FEMA?
Okay, the rest of this is just some detailed stuff that we don't really need to talk about because she just hit the magic point. This is a cultural problem. This is a cultural problem underneath the Biden administration. There's a reason that these same exact things have been happening for 4 years. Now, they're about to be switched around. And that's going to be a fun thing, a totally separate thing to watch. But you're seeing our reps over the target. And to be quite honest, it's kind of refreshing. Let me know what you guys think. Should we rip this entire culture out of the root? Should we be gentle with it or just go with Roundup? I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think. I'll see you on the next one.